Hello and welcome to this second video showing you all about the sketches I've made of the properties on the London Monopoly Board. And in this video I'm going to be showing you my sketches of the three light blue properties and telling you just a little bit about them. Now, the light blue set and the Monopoly board all seem to be pretty close geographically to King's Cross Station, which is hardly surprising since they come straight after it. Now, the first of these, shown in the picture in front of you, is the Angel Islington. This property takes its name from an inn, first documented in 1614, called, funnily enough, the Angel. The property originally belonged to Clerkenwell Priory. The inn was rebuilt several times, and the drawing I've made shows its penultimate incarnation, the Angel Hotel. Now, this building was demolished in 1902, finishing in 1903, and the current building was put up in its place. This too was called the Angel Hotel, but only until 1921 when it became a Lyons Corner House restaurant. J. Lyons and Company began opening tea shops throughout Britain in the 1890s, but the Lyons Corner House tea shop was a particularly London institution from the 1890s right through until the last one closed in 1981. The aim of the tea shops was to provide a cheap and refreshing cup of tea or coffee, along with cakes and hot and cold dishes. Now, the story goes that our man Victor Watson and his secretary Marjorie Phillips only included the Angel Islington because they took afternoon tea in the Lyons Corner House, which had been the Angel, and enjoyed a very decent cup of Rosie Lee there. In all honesty, we don't really know, because Victor didn't leave any helpful notes behind explaining his thought processes that led to the decisions. Well, there's no Angel Hotel and no Lyons Corner House anymore, but the area still retains the name, the Angel though, and the nearest underground railway station is still called Angel. Off the point, Angel Tube Station has the longest escalators on the tube network and is one of 4 stations named after pubs. Now, the area of the Angel was a setting for a lightweight British film of 1954 called The Angel Who Pawned Her Harp. It stars Sean Connery's first wife, Diane Cilento, who played a real angel sent to the Angel area to soften the heart of a pawnbroker. It owed something to Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol. So, moving on to the second of the light blues. Now, the second of the light blue properties is Euston Road. Even today, you're not short of significant buildings to draw which stand along the Euston Road. You start at King's Cross, and the name refers to an equestrian statue of King George IV, erected as a memorial on his death in 1830. So popular had George been as a monarch that the statue was removed in 1845 and immediately proved to be unmourned and unmissed, much like the man himself. Now, as I say, even today there's a lot to choose from. You've got the Grand Midland Hotel above St Pancras Station, the British Library and Euston Station. And I confess I didn't draw a brand new sketch for this property. I've opted to use something from my back catalogue, as is my prerogative. And so we've got my drawing of the Doric Arch outside Euston Station from 1837 to 1961. First threat to this arch came in the late 1930s when a radical plan to rebuild the station was drawn up, which would have involved moving the arch at the very least. Second World War thankfully put paid to this. However, it only turned out to be a stay of execution. Despite the fact that both station and arch were Grade 2 listed, the plan for the current station was put forward in about 1960, and nobody in officialdom showed any appetite whatsoever for moving the arch to a new home. For the London County Council, predecessor of the GLC, balked at the cost, and the Transport Minister, Ernie Marples, said all options for demolishing the arch had been carefully examined and rejected. This, by the way, was the same Ernie Marples whose company built motorways. Not that he was at all biased, you understand. Pleas from great men such as Sir John Betjeman to be given time to raise the money to meet the cost of removing the arch and storing it until a new home could be found for it were completely ignored. Now, contrary to how it might seem from what I've just said, I do appreciate you can't keep things just because they've been there a long time. Otherwise, we'd all be living in Bronze Age roundhouses, I suppose. But I do think that there was a very strong case for keeping the Euston Arch, and I point my finger at those who made the decision and rushed to demolition. And I'm happy to tell you that you let down the people you were working for and sold all of our birthright for a mess of concrete. Apologies. We're going landscape for the Boss property of the blue set, Pentonville Road. There's two sets of properties between Go and Jail, the browns, and these blues. And Pentonville Road is the most lucrative property on this first side of the board. It was laid out first in the 1750s as part of the new road, when the area it passed through was mostly fields and farms. It became the Pentonville Road in the 1830s, after landowner Henry Penton developed the area, which had been mainly fields up to the time, and hence the name Pentonville, which was after him. Pentonville Road links King's Cross with the Angel. Now, if you know the name Pentonville at all, it's probably because of the prison that shares its name. Now, it's quite appropriate in a way when you think that the next property has actually go to jail. However, for all that, HMP Pentonville, the prison, is not actually located here at all, a little further north on the Caledonian Road. Someone who was located just off the Pentonville Road once was Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, Lenin Yugov, and it was here he supposedly had his first ever meeting with Lev Davidovich Bronstein, or Trotsky as the lads called him. Dickens mentions Pentonville a couple of times. In the original novel Oliver Twist, Mr. Brownlow, who saves Oliver from a life of crime, lives there. And it forms a contrast to the filthy slums inhabited by the criminal underclass represented by Fagin and Sykes. At the King's Cross end of the road, on the corner of the junction with Gray's Inn Road, there's a corner block building which would be very unremarkable were it not for the fact that there appears to be a lighthouse stuck on the roof. There's no conclusive explanation for why it's there, but many people think it might have something to do with the fact that the building once housed an oyster bar. Well, ladies and gents, that's the light blues. In the next video, we'll be taking a look at my sketches of the pink properties. Hope to see you then.